Hello, everyone. Welcome to xyzpodcast. I'm Gary. Today, you are listening to a special episode in collaboration with Constructing Worlds, curated by Rebecca Yo and Clarissa Lim. And it's very fortunate for me to be part of this very exciting event. And in fact, it's more than just podcasts. The whole exhibition also runs a few workshops. So if you're interested, feel free to check out their Instagram page. So allow me to bring it through a little bit about the exhibition. So the theme itself, called Constructing Worlds, is an exhibition which explores the making of our worlds through representational methods between pre-colonial Malay archipelago and monsoon region. So it's very interesting for me to look at it because for XYZ podcast is gonna host 3 episodes, and then we're gonna have 3 artists, and it's much more like, trying out this kind of possibilities of new imagination of Malaysia by reinterpreting the threshold between 3 fluid dichotomies. And today we have Hasanul, and then the topic is about past and future. So I was looking out into his previous work and also the current work for Constructing Worlds. It's very interesting for me because it's kind of create this kind of contrast compared to his previous works. And since this exhibition is gonna be an online exhibition, and for me, I'm not sure. Perhaps Hasanul may have done a few digital artworks online, especially this time. 3 of the artworks are GIF file, so it's animated photos. So it's very interesting compared to previous works, which I really like because most of his works are sort of reminds me of still life, with food, with fish or lobsters. It really reminds me of still life. This kind of bring and trigger these kind of senses. And it's not just about this food or delicacies. It also brings out another layers of understanding ordinary objects, a glass jar or a tire rim. And my personal favorites, maybe I can point out 3, Edo Marinade, Tip Blade, and Primal Breeze. Yeah, okay. And Hasanul, his approach is much more on personifies his personal struggles as an artist with strange characters that inhabited his invented universes. And I think the keyword here is strange. And today we're going to talk about that as well. And I think it's very interesting. I think strange is a new normal in a way.
Yeah.
So without further ado, hi Hasanul, how are you?
Hey, hi Gary.
Really nice to talk to you. And before that, we have a very fun conversation about architects and artists. So today we will focus on artists. And tell us about this topic when it comes to you and saying that fact and fiction. I wonder what is your thought on that?
Facts and fiction.
Yeah, how do you? This bridge between fact and fiction. I wonder what is your perception in this sense. How do you see what is fact, what is fiction?
For me, fact and fiction ni dia colliding lah. Dia macam dia grey area. Aku tak rasa facts and fiction tu terlalu jauh. Especially dalam kerja aku lah. In fact, on my artworks, it's always facts and fiction living together in the same space. It's always like that. In fact, to create fiction tu, aku perlu ada facts kan, baru aku boleh create the fictions. Just like, tapi most of aku punya reference is sci-fi or science fiction. And also I works from 2 elements. If you say fiction, I use a lot of science fiction punya element. And if you say facts, I'm using a lot of writing from science punya writing. Science writing means research yang orang pernah buat, and science journal lah. I love reading science journal. So science journal is very factual and sometimes theory kan, and fiction is sci-fi is always like moving ahead to future or looking on new possibility yang akan berlaku in future kan.
So I think so my apology because the theme is actually called past and future, but I think the explanation from Hasanul talking about fact and fiction is very close because it's somehow because his works was talking about wawasan 2020 and wawasan 2020 back then in your time you were saying in primary
91.
school or Form 1
high school
so it was a
91.
fiction, it was a target, it was
it was a fiction. It was something that you need to predict or you use your own imagination towards the future. And in fact, they just came out with a logo. And all the policy that coming up. And then sebenarnya untuk aku tak clear. Untuk aku, you will see something that
but I wonder at
the tall building je lah aku rasa. Aku tak rasa more than that.
But I wonder at that point of time, at the point of time, is there any rendering like with flying cars, with tall buildings? Those are the posters, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, ada. Yeah. Campur lah. I mean like itu imagination orang lain pula kan. 2000 is like sama macam orang predict 2000 lah. 2001 Space Odyssey apa semua tu kan predict features and but yeah.
I mean, do you agree with that? Do you support with that wawasan 2020?
What do you mean?
As in, like at that point of time, do you very enthusiastic or very supportive and very
I'm
excited?
very naive at that time. 91, I'm 13 years old. What do I know? Kalau kita ada imagination, of course, we imagine that flying cars and all that lah, kan? And all the robot is working with us, going to school or whatever lah, kan? All the Steven Spielberg punya imagination lah. But it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. But I think before we can throw out a big question. How do you make worlds? I think that's quite an interesting question as well. But I noticed that in your
how you create world.
Yeah. I think sorry, before that maybe I can ask one question, perhaps it can help, is that because you were saying you were assigned to make a Vision 2020 mural. And in that mural, did you add in any significant building or in there significant objects,
Oh, tak. Yang itu kita orang just lukis logo tu je.
Oh.
Very minimal mural. I mean like we came up with our own ideas of logos and write the whole policies of wawasan 2020 lah.
Manifesto.
That manifesto lah. It's just that. But I remember the arrows and the colors.
So is that something
policy,
related?
Aku dah lupa lah, of course.
Tak apa, tak jadi pun.
In fact, policy keep changing kan. Mana ada pernah policy tu kekal. In fact, aku baru tengok Lee Kuan Yew talk semalam lah. Aku tengok footage lama. I mean like, he's very, very young. Tapi I think maybe in the 90s kot aku agak or end of 80s is not very young, is quite dia very matang lah. I mean like dia 30 ke 40 something macam tu kot. Aku tak sure lah. 40 something to 50 lah macam tu. So aku amazed lah. aku actually the footage aku tak sengaja jumpa. Tapi dia the way he talk, aku translate bahasa Melayu lah kan. Dia cakap kami pernah buat salah. Pernah berlaku kesilapan dalam pembangunan di Singapura. Contohnya dekat Jurong they say lah, ada few building or places for project yang gagal. Tapi kemudiannya we try to fix it. Kalau kita nak buat benda, kalau kita rasa benda tu tak bagus, is a rubbish, kita terus buang. Jangan ever develop benda tu to second stage or third stage. Kalau kau start bagus, that's it. Throw away and then restart again. Kalau kita silap in the middle of the project, kita fix it and cuba baiki sebaik mungkin and teruskan. Aku suka lah that idea. I mean like kau bukan main tembak saja kan. You just don't just create and then kalau dia rubbish pun kau buat juga rubbish tu sampai jadi lagi rubbish kan. So kalau tak bagus kau buang. Aku suka lah idea-idea macam tu. Sebab aku rasa our development pun aku ingat macam tu juga. Benda tu gagal tapi diteruskan dan makin gagal, semakin gagal kan. Including the
merosot lah.
merosot. Oh, merosot. Dia merosot dan kusut. Kusut tu dia macam rambut kau tangle lah. Kau tak sikat 2 bulan kau jadi macam mana kan?
Yeah. It's not just looks sad, it's pathetic in a way. But then I would like to ask back another question because I just wanted to come back later to this, the first question. But and it reminds me when you're saying this kind of personal memories, and it was talking about, in my work, I express a scenario which is incomplete as suspended. And I think this understanding of incomplete and suspended is, I think, how do you see that? Do you think incomplete is another form of completion also? So ugly is a kind of beauty in a way, and also
kau
like
terpaksa accept it kot. Kau terpaksa live together. Dia force kau. In fact aku baru baca like a couple of days ago about architect. Alamak, aku tak ingat negara dia. How architect boleh shape our mental health. How architect boleh save our situation kan. So aku suka ada that kind of vision kan. Macam mana architect boleh shape mental health city tu. I mean people that live in that city. How big the vision yang diorang bawa kan. And then vision tu kena continuous. Kau tak boleh buat dia dalam 5 years macam tu. Aku tak jumpa tu dekat Malaysia. Aku tak sense tu dekat sini. Tak ada orang yang came up dengan that project untuk save mental health people. Aku rasa tu aku baca dekat BBC or something. That's the thing lah. Aku rasa dekat Malaysia mungkin kita ada brutal kan. Dekat UK for example, brutal. And then aku pergi like a few places and yang memang architect zaman after Second World War. Tapi aku sense that brutalism become betul-betul cutting edge lah. Then diorang really respond untuk pembangunan yang cepat dan cepat siapkan kan, dan untuk orang boleh duduk semula and
yang itu
that city.
Yang itu era macam era JKR loh. It's like postmodern merdeka.
Tapi dekat Malaysia aku tak tahu lah. Aku tahu aku suka punya building lah. Aku suka art school dekat that building is so beautiful for me. Tapi you mean bangunan tak siap tu macam mana? You mean like construction yang betul-betul tak siap lah.
Kontraktor cabut loh.
Yang itu aku tak boleh accept lah. Aku bahaya lah. Kan dekat baru ni ada somehow benda ni sampai jadi macam dark comedy untuk kita Malaysian kan. Kita have fun on it, betul tak? I mean like sampai engkau dah tak boleh nak bersedih, last kali akhirnya engkau ketawa. Engkau force yourself untuk ketawa sebab kau tak tahu nak buat apa lah. Kau hopeless and then kau cakap macam mana pun still tak ada siapa nak dengar. Kau belajar dekat AA ke, kau dapat all the degree, full scholarship ke apa semua pun still kau balik, kau buat kerja. Kau kena dengar cakap kontraktor lah kan. Kau kena cakap developer lah. Developer nak apa kan. Aku tak tahu lah. Itulah aku cakap the situation tu memang aku rasa in limbo and very desert situation lah. Aku tak ada jawapan sebenarnya untuk jawab.
Tapi I mean, it comes to architecture wise because your field notes, it's a curator's field notes from Rebecca and Clarissa. So it says about the site is actually Manjung power plant. And it's very interesting because sometimes, I'm not sure, perhaps some architects, they don't recognize this as architecture. They recognize this as an infrastructure, which is more engineering part, you know. But if architects trying to claim or saying that, you know, architecture is art and science, then art and science is actually like, you know, is almost everything. But then when it comes to this, you try to link, don't recognize it. And this, you know, this separation or this contrast between in a state of limbo versus nation-built visions, I think is very interesting as well. And thanks, Clarissa, you were saying that Hasanul found inspiration from power plants, and these three works is somehow reflecting this kind of, I think at some point I see despair, or it's a kind of you try to find hope in hopelessness in a way.
I don't find hope. I don't seek hope. I just respond to situation where I live. Itu je. Aku just respond. Tapi yeah, of course lah. I've got son, so I fikir and what kind of future that my son will live in, and or people's after me. Yeah, in a state of limbo tu memang betul lah. Aku tak boleh kata apa-apa. They just build and that's it. And then it happened many times in my family punya life. I mean, like my nenek also reclaim tanah dia like 5 acre, reclaimed by government to build the biggest tentera laut Diraja Malaysia punya camp in Semenanjung in Malaysia, including Sabah Sarawak. So she lost 5 acre. They just give her a quarter acre. Every person in that kampung got quarter acre and got a few plants. They give you belimbing, limau and all that, and plant in your house, and that's it. Rumah dia bagi you macam rumah Felda. My nenek house is like besar, like macam bungalow kayu lah macam tu kan. Rumah kampung lama kan panjang, ada serambi, ada bilik, ada untuk tetamu, and then ruang tengah, and then dapur. And I used to recall the memory tu from my dad lah. I tanya rumah tu macam mana, structure dia macam mana, what kind of kayu and all that. So I figure out myself lah. And then there's a time my dad, we went to Sabah. I used to work in Sabah before. So my dad ikut, and then in the pasar, dia termenung. I cari dia macam hilang. And then I cari dia, cari-cari, and then jumpa dia dekat tempat orang jual beras tau. So dia pegang dekat tangan dia beras tu, lama lah dia pegang. And then I cuik dia. Then, abah kenapa? Why? Oh, dia kata, this is the beras that I used to plant. It's called si jangkam. Beras tu merah tau. Beras tu padi huma. It's a species of huma. Because my nenek house tu near laut, pantai. So orang yang dekat pantai tak boleh, and then tak ada sungai situ. So jadi dia orang tanam huma. So my dad recall balik semua his memory tu masa dekat Sabah. Sebab dekat Sabah have a lot of rice punya species kan. So itulah start dari situ, and then second round bila pindah, and kita orang terpaksa duduk dekat rumah tu equally dengan orang lain, walaupun orang lain tu tanah dia different size ke apa ke, dia orang just bagi the same size. Dia orang bagi satu tugu, ada 3 tiang bendera. That's it lah. Say thank you. So my nenek lepas kena pindah, and then dia bela anjing lah sebab tanah tu luas. So my sekarang kan orang like isu anjing lah and all that. So I used to sembang dengan bapa I sekarang, then dia start telling me a lot of stories lah. Because I dah besar kan. So masa you remaja pun dia tak cerita ni semua. And then bila pindah, and now tanah, in fact perjanjian tu bukan Rizal Melayu pun tanah tu. Ada kemungkinan nanti after 99 years ke kita orang kena pindah lagi. So tanah tu dekat dengan power plant tu. Power plant tu dia orang bina like almost 2000 macam tu to supply energy. They say that supply energy for the whole entire Semenanjung Peninsula Malaysia. And then they use coal, arang batu. So you see lah every night asap keluar daripada situ. In fact satu tiang mula-mula, now dah dua. And in fact orang situ very close to kampung. In fact belakang rumah orang aja, you buka pintu rumah and then you terus nampak coal power plant tu. In fact
Just now when you
TNB nak tunjuk dia baik, dia tolong bayar elektrik untuk masjid dekat kampung.
redemption lah.
Redemption dengan bagi makan, bagi buat kenduri, and then orang pun macam happy lah.
But I wonder, do they know about that? Do they know like it's actually there's a purpose and intention behind all the moves, all the charity?
I don't. What can you do?
Yeah. But I really, that's very interesting because it reminds me of it reminds me of the first work that you did. It started off as a flag, and slowly it evolved. It become a flower, and it's a very colorful flower.
It's not flower.
It's flower.
It's a mushroom.
Oh, it's a mushroom. Okay. That's very interesting.
Deadly mushroom. It's gonna spore soon because the color will start brighten and they release a spore soon.
But I think apart from the first one, from a flag become a mushroom, and then the second one, it looks like someone, the medical stuff trying to spray the vaccine. No, not vaccine. Sorry, it's to clean up
It's a termite. Termite nest. Yeah, it's a termite. It's a twin termite nest.
Right, but I always thought there is a certain representation of KLCC at some point. So
somehow maybe
so it's like
I cannot confirm it, but somehow it looks like KLCC, right?
Yeah. And I thought it's
quite nice.
KLCC.
Imagine it's quite nice to have a twin
KLCC
tower termite nest, and then they cross like more than one bridges and collapse later on. Itu paling best.
Yeah. But I think the reason why I feel differently, I think it's KLCC because it's given this kind of idea where, we used to have ambitious idea or vision, but then it's just the termite workers just comes in, and then the reality comes in, and then the termite mud just goes down. It's sort of like this kind of reality and vision somehow intertwined in this one.
Yeah, maybe like I sense all these pembangunan dia macam very temporary dia akan deteriorate, dia akan pecah later on. I saw it in Georgetown itself, if you saw all the old building lama-lama yang kena tinggal apa semua, just like that. I mean, like they have a glory time at certain point, and then after that semua hilang or runtuh. Just like my memory of my nenek house same. Hilang dia hilang. Whether dia kena rampas atau memang dia hilang or dia rosak. Kita ada budaya yang tak nak kekalkan benda tau. Kita tak nak pelihara. Kita selalu nak dia runtuhkan, kita buat lain. And then ganti yang baru. It's just like old house dekat kampung ke kan. Aku rasa old house ada certain area dekat sebelah Batu Gajah sana, aku suka lah the area. When I drive, aku suka masuk and then tengok old house yang masih ada orang duduk. Tapi lama-lama aku sense ada certain area yang orang dah guna simen atau batu kan. Aku kau tak boleh nak buat apa kan. Kau just dapat tengok je lah.
Yeah, it feels it's again it's the word despair in a way. There's a sense of desire to help but you can't, and this kind of, I would say, is a struggle where I don't know, it's like what you want and what you need is sort of playing in your mind, I think, and that's very interesting as well, because I think I try to understand what they are trying to do also, because they are trying to develop in the name of development, right? But I mean, we could have do better, you know.
Aku tak tahu lah. Kalau hari perayaan KLCC mesti ada orang Bangla ramai, orang Bangladesh tak balik kampung. Kita pergi pun aku dah tak tahu, aku pergi mungkin sebab kino dulu. Now aku tak pasti that building tu untuk apa. For you?
No, I think KLCC. I mean,
dia cantik kot. Aku rasa. Aku tak tahu dia cantik ke tak. Aku pun tak pasti dia cantik ke tak. Aku tak tahu. Mungkin orang lain rasa cantik lah. Lawa lah, cantik lah, bersih meter. Aku pun tak pasti dia cantik ke tak. Kalau kau tanya aku, dia perempuan yang cantik ke? Aku tak pasti.
maybe we could do we can do one to talk about cantik. But I think
for architect macam mana? What do you think of from architect punya view about that building? Is it a building yang cantik?
We were talking about KLCC, right? Yeah, I think, to be honest, every time I visit the place, I find it nice in a way because it's sharp. And always I thought the camera can't capture the sharpness, and it's because of the repetition of the steel stainless steel fin. Yeah, and the glass and the steel. I think it looks nice, but I think the whole point is not about the materials. The whole point is the exposure of the building. You know, every time when we go around the world, let's say in Glasgow, I can see they name out like the symbol of each country. Then KLCC will be there. You know. So it's not about the architecture wise, it's the symbol, it's the meaning that we gave, you know. So I think it's very interesting. But if you tell me that, you know, KLCC is just one of the building in Dubai or in New York, then I might think it's just a typical building for me, you know.
They're out terus.
Yeah, out terus. Tapi saya ingat Tapi saya ingat back in 10 or 20 years ago, I think it's quite stunning with this kind of achievement, you know, KLCC.
That's the thing about beauty. Dia tak last. Dia akan nampak old lah at certain point of time. Tapi ada building yang dia macam dia maintain aja kan for the whole entire life pun, building tu masih nampak very strategic dan very function. Aku lebih percaya dengan function in terms of daripada beauty. Aku lebih percaya reclaim daripada kena buat baru. Just like macam aku tengok Meatpacking kan. Meatpacking is a place macam art center dekat New York kan. Diorang building tu reclaim and then they build gallery apa semua kat dalam tu. Aku suka that kind of concept lah. At the moment lah. It's just like you're wearing baju bandel lah. I mean like orang dah pakai tapi you basuh balik then you pakai balik.
Adaptive reuse lah.
Yeah, atau beli second hand car kan. Aku okay je. Tapi orang lain mungkin tak selesa dengan that ideas.
Yeah, and it's very interesting. Thanks, Carissa. You also mentioned that Hasanul recently read Low Tech by Julia Watson. And this links to the question I would like to ask, because Low Tech is kind of, when I was reading it, it's kind of like a time travel. It's like a time travel back to 2000 years ago, and then to understand how they plant, how they stay, how they collect water, how they plant, especially in plantation, you know, they do polyculture, monoculture, try to understand how to mix up. And then, you know, in speaking of permaculture or agriculture. So this, the next question I would like to ask is about this kind of world understanding in a worldview. You see, like in Africa or in North America, South America, and then now, you know, I'm now in UK, and then you are in Malaysia. How do you see the definition of the world as a realm or a universe? You know, or is that something related to your three of your works? Because I thought in this sense, the world itself is a gap in a way that, do you believe in like two worlds, but it's just that we have to cross the bridge like between past and future? So as
what do you mean by two world?
World as in like the idea, the mindset. So it's like for you when you are creating a work, or when you are, you know, creating these
is it a beta, alpha, theta, and is it that? Beta, theta, alpha tu. Ya itu ke?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much similar things. But I just thought that, do you see your works have two worlds in a way? Because maybe it tries to, you know, try to bring out this kind of message, but at the same time, your approach also another way. So two worlds running at some point. How do you think so? Do you think that it's two worlds running, and but somehow it's in the end it's connect the dichotomies? Yes, Clarissa, you're right. And how do you see? Yeah.
My work is actually, if you're looking at subconscious mind, kan, for example, when we're talking now, it is called beta, right? When we open our eyes and the light's coming in our eyes and then get into our brains. So before it get into our brain process a chemical called serotonin, right? Serotonin is chemical that makes us happy and conscious about our living lah. Bila kita buka mata kan. So siapa kawan kita, parents and all that. And the another three element is alpha, theta, and I couldn't remember another one, gamma, if I'm not mistaken. So itu semua subconscious punya element. So currently aku selalu record aku punya dreams. And yeah, so I write back. I try to recall it during, normally it will disappear, and when we woke up, or I try to really record it, and once I get up, I have a special sketchbook for dreaming. So things that floating during conscious and subconscious, itu yang I combine. And what you see too, for example, you ask me about that universe, and might be it comes from because since I record, normally I refer or I read it again and again. So some of the element that you see in the artworks most probably coming from my dreaming time, and they call it subconscious, right?
It's very interesting.
For example, alpha tu is an imaginary world or inner world, world, and theta is I couldn't remember. Yeah.
I wonder, do you see, is this dream world and reality, are they two universe, or do you think it's actually one? In a way, if the answer is one universe, meaning to say
it's different world.
It's different world.
Yeah, if you try to record your dream, also you see like crazy shit happen, right? You can do many things, or you becoming many things that. But it carries from our better punya life, our daily life. Is it because our stress and all that, and it goes or coming into subconscious punya mind kan.
Right.
But it colliding together lah. Aku collide je, aku combine those two in one. That's why you sense or you nampak things that weird or something that something wrong somewhere, for example. Or is it a surreal? Is it a surrealist? Is it absurd? Is it this and that? And for me, simple je. I have subconscious punya record and conscious punya record. I combine it together in one in the artworks.
So these three, should I say three artworks, they are from your dream?
Partly yes. In fact, now you just for me during and I also write my sketch. I don't sketch. Yeah, I write. For example, a man walking in the seashore, his head is like blah 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 kan, for example. So I write just a simple sentences, not sketching. Sometimes I sketch. Dulu, yes, I got many sketchbook, but now I write. Sometimes on the A4 and all that. So, yeah, aku cara kerja aku pun dah berubah sekarang. Tak macam dulu-dulu. Kalau masa student, you try to and then once I tulis, lepas tu second phase is like things that floating in your mind. I mean like images that came up. So kalau you feel it strong, you just keep it in your mind and you just play it again and again, whether it should stay or you just throw away. And so if it stay, it is good. I keep recall it. I mean like for the whole entire day, I keep thinking about flag, for example, and motion it. I mean you try to imagine how dia punya movement, whether the angin datang daripada kiri or kanan or atas, for example. And the idea of mushroom tu coming later on. So aku buat flag tu dulu. And then aku abandon sekejap. Aku suka ada period of break sekejap and then come again to the artworks. So aku buat dulu the motion and all that. Aku jalan, aku tengok pokok, aku tengok flag while driving, or aku berhenti dekat mana-mana yang ada flag, for example. Just like duduk and tengok, for example, for a couple of minutes. And then I came back to the studio later on, maybe 1 or 2 days later or 1 week later. And then the mushroom crossed my mind. So I add on lah later on. I think it worked together lah.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting as well. I think the most important the notice is the transition part. For example, the first one is from flag to a mushroom. And then the
Sebab
second
aku rasa
one,
boring kalau flag into something yang predictable lah. Kalau aku, for example lah kan, kalau orang imagining death, dia akan ambil skull as a symbol or gagak or crows. Tapi kalau dia twist a little bit, things that aku tak boleh predict, aku rasa tercabar dengan work tu. Aku rasa wow, ni best. Kalau aku boleh agak apa yang akan jadi kan, work tu kalau aku dah boleh agak, aku rasa tak interested lah. Aku akan bosan lah. Sebab images tu macam makanan artis lah, our foods kan. So you familiar with your food, right? Artis yang pretend, for example, like your friend have a solo next 2 months from now, and then he came out like 5 years ago punya work yang sama. So aku bosan lah. Dia tak cabar aku. At least kalau dia macam, Hasanul, tengok apa aku boleh buat. So aku rasa macam, oh shit man, aku kena buat lebih baik dari dia.
But But I think the point that I noticed the three of the works here on constructing worlds, the most important, most interesting part, and also the most difficult part for me to notice is that the transition, because from flag to a mushroom, you chose to be like a crumble and then fall
Yeah.
into a mushroom and
Yeah,
then it
that's the
blooms
thing.
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it can't. I mean, it could be happening in millions of ways. It could be the flag and then in the fire, for example, and then it becomes the mushroom or whatsoever, right?
Fire tu yang aku cakap tadi aku boleh predict tu. Kan, of course orang akan bakar nak musnahkan dia kan. Tapi aku rasa this our situation ni is like a spore. Dia spore, kau tahu kan, is spore actually cara pembiakan dalam bakteria. One of salah satu cara, selain daripada ada banyak cara lain lah. So dia orang akan sporadickan dia. Maknanya dia akan lepaskan benih dia di udara. Terbangkan kan. Benda yang sama ada dia good or bad lah. Sama ada dia racun atau tak. Yeah. Same with our situation kan. When we get news or we get things that coming in our phone, it's like a spore. Dia macam, mula dia initiate something yang menjanjikan sesuatu yang baik lah. Kan? Flat kan, waving slowly kan. Moving tu aku nak dia macam melambai-lambai kau lah, macam hai mari. Dia macam waving kau kan, macam menenangkan, but somehow it turns into something yang really bad and poisonous.
I think
itu yang aku nampak dekat.
Yeah. And I think the second work and third work, they rather ended with deconstruction. You know, the second
work
one is collapse.
yang the guy yang tahu collab tu also dia sedang sembuh racun dekat castle termite castle tu. And then later on dia crumble instead of killing, and also dia hancurkan sekali. Your intention actually start from nak selesaikan case tu is you just sembuh racun saja. But somehow kau tak expect yang tower tu akan runtuh sekali. Dia macam boleh ingat, kita musnahkan je. Kita musnah, that's it. Kita sembuh and then kita ciao. But somehow, sudahlah kau sembuh dia. Rumah dia pun hancur. double effect lah, lagi teruk.
you thought this is worse, they can go down even worse.
It's just like I remember when I couldn't remember how your childhood is kan. Aku punya childhood dulu, like kau treat insect is in a bad way lah kan. I saw people how cara nak ni, this is how I get the ideas lah. For example, this is one example lah. You tahu kerengga kan? Ants yang macam red ants yang living dekat pokok kan. Pokok buah lah normally. Dia duduk dekat pokok yang berbuah. So to attract them, engkau letakkan tulang ikan ataupun aku tengok kawan aku letak daging ikan pari tau. Like things yang betul sedap lah, tak masak kan. Kau boleh letak dekat atas pokok tu and then semua dia orang datang kan. So the way untuk musnahkan dia adalah kau kena bakar dia. Kau perasan macam kau diumpan dengan benda yang sedap, kau bakar dia. And then kau dah bakar dia kan, bila kau dah ada in the mood of memusnahkan, kau akan musnahkan semua benda kan. So kau dah musnahkan army dia, and then kau start cari rumah dia. Kau bakar rumah dia, kau bakar nest dia, kau bakar anak, monyet, semua mati sekali. So aku nampak yang kau tengok orang sembuh, 3 yang sembuh sarang anak-anak itu macam tu lah. kau nak musnahkan dia je sebenarnya. Kau just nak bunuh sikit je, tapi somehow kau musnahkan semua sekali.
But I wonder this kind of
guna api lah.
yeah.
Tapi the last one tu aku guna lah.
Yeah. But I really intrigued by the fact that how do you see this kind of duality at some point, because we have been talking about this kind of I won't say ugly, but rather there is a certain intention. For example, I put something nice and then I attract you, and then I just want to destroy you, you know, or even like what you mentioned, the Manjung power plant. It looks,
you know, electric.
Yeah, it's a promise, you know. It says that it's a promise I will supply electricity for the whole Malaysia or whatsoever, and then I can compensate you, right? So
bayar bil electric.
Yeah. So I think, how do you see? I mean, from the bright side, we try to stay optimistic at this point. How do you see this connection between absurdity and modernity? Do you think, is there any connection? I mean, of course, the reason why, let's say we wanted to kill the termite, is actually to develop or to make ourselves life better because we want to protect our house. But at the same time, deep in our soul, we feel bad to kill the termites in a way. You know, so how do you see?
Aku rasa semua benda perlu ada control lah, sedikit control. Itu je. Aku rasa kita boleh je live together, tapi in control. I mean like ada give and take sikit lah. For example, aku ada termite dekat bawah tangga rumah aku kat kampung. Dia from aku kecil until now, dia wujud dekat situ. So aku cuma waktu tu aku cuma control dia daripada naik dari tangga ke lantai rumah. That's it. Bila dia naik ke lantai, aku scrap it and then maintain dia dekat bawah tanah kan. So it stays lah. Rumah aku tak kena makan pun sampai sekarang. Cumanya bila dah tak ada orang yang nak control tu, then dia akan jadi over sikit lah.
So the staircase landing is the benchmark, is the minimum. Don't cross this.
Kau jangan boleh pergi jauh sangat. Kau jangan boleh. Kau nak jadi apa, kau jadilah, tapi jangan
lalu sini.
Jangan lalu sini. Kau lalu, kita orang parang. Kalau bakar, aku action of bakar tu memang very violence lah benda aku. Membakar.
Kalau macam ni, termite kena sign agreement tau.
Tak, aku masukkan tadi macam tu lah. Everything kena ada control lah. Kalau semua bukanlah control yang sangat intense lah, tapi sedikit control aku ingat okay lah. Aku rasa. Kau dekat Glasgow macam mana? Kau rasa kau enjoy living kat Glasgow?
Not bad. Yeah, it's quite okay actually. It's a very new exposure for me. Yeah. But it's very refreshing. Yeah.
Kau rasa under control tak?
Saya rasa new control. Tak ada control tak. It's a new control.
New way of controlling people.
New way of controlling. Because I always thought control is because you have the existing element so that you can morph it, you know. But then for me, because it's so new that it's not even form a existing thing. So it's sort of like a control haven't come in yet. And it's very interesting because I think we will end very soon. Thanks a lot, Hasanul. I think it's very interesting to listen to your narratives and also idea behind the three works. And maybe I can throw two questions from the floor. And Ivanka was asking, in what way can an artist shape the future of us? I think in this case, perhaps we can rephrase the word shape into control.
Aku rasa artis lah orang yang boleh shape our future lah.
In a softer way, do you think?
In any way boleh. Sebab bukan semua artis yang ada setengah. Yeah, we have different approach on different things, right? Sebab kita the whole world lah, I mean like artis ni living in the whole world kan. So ada approach di certain negara atau bangsa tu terbina dengan kekerasan kan. Jadi the way they approach, for example Indonesia for example, mungkin approach dia kasar kan. Di Malaysia cara dia lain lah, nari lemah lembut. So in Singapore different lah style. Tapi semua orang memang ada vision untuk move forward for future yang lebih brighter. For example, like the whole plastic pollution and all that. I think banyak je artis yang ada ideas on how to respond it.
Tapi but do you think that Malaysian artists should be more quote unquote rebellious or more provoking in a sense to bring out a certain message? As an artist, what do you think?
Itu so what?
As in like trying to bring a message. It's not necessary. It's not necessary to be politics, but it's about environment. How about environment or social issues like social medias, or I don't know, suicide, or no, in general, depression.
Bagus. Iaitu aku baru ni wife aku conduct a class while aku lecturing. Dia conduct a class for combine dengan neurologist untuk help B, untuk help siapa B yang you buat project baru ni tu? Yang dengan neurologist tu. Dia just teaching art therapy for therapists. So dia teaching art therapist yang working dengan mental institution and ada yang persendirian untuk helps them and guide them lebih proper how they teach. Sebab Malaysia tak ada degree in art therapist yet. Kita lambat lah. But I mean now takkan kita nak tunggu suicide rate dah sampai remaja yang suicide dah sampai like 2,000 kan baru kita nak. Kalau dekat UK for example mungkin lagi awal. But now they have moving towards that tapi kita always like 10 years lambat
behind.
10 years behind. Aku kira aku duduk kat London 2012 aku balik atau aku sense memang lambat 10 tahun kan. So aku masih ada hope lah sebab aku tengok wife aku and then dia ajak aku duduk sebelah just listen and look at their presentation. It's quite nice lah. Aku belajar benda baru lah. And then aku sampai cakap kawan aku, aku macam interested lah nak ambil kelas ni, art therapy.
But I think
macam environmental issue aku tak sense artis dekat Malaysia tackle dengan betul-betul progresif lah. Betul kan? Aku pun banyak derma je. Tapi aku tak really on point or berada dekat side ke apa. Tapi aku sense kalau government policy tu lebih baik, I mean artis akan lebih tenang dan selesa sikit nak buat kerja. Aku rasa benda-benda ni akan lebih seronok untuk artis tackle dan issues lah. Sebab kau tengok poachers kan, aku tak rasa selamat lah kalau aku nak fight dengan poachers lah. In fact, kita tak ada army yang jaga untuk counter the poachers pun. Tak ada. Jabatan Pilitan je. Jabatan Pilitan bukan ada senapang pun. In fact, diorang biar je. Ke story yang aku dengar, sama. Orang hutan dekat Sarawak misalnya, sama.
I think the keyword here is the idea of invitation rather than self-initiative. I think for artists, they're usually self-initiated, right? It's like I have a concept, say I want to do this, and it would be great if someone can invite us so that we can do it more comfortable, and then we don't have to face the poachers like you say. We can do it in a holistic way.
Lebih holistic. Tapi itu satu point lah. Aku rasa benda yang aku berminat sekarang mental health lah. Aku rasa tu matters lah. Kalau kita tak tackle itu, kita tak ada conscious untuk
tak ada foundation lah.
kau tak ada itu sebenarnya foundation untuk engkau rasa care pada benda lain kan. Kau rasa care pada animals for example. Atau kau care pada nature kan. In fact nature aku rasa yang paling teruk kena sekarang. Dan kita tak combat betul-betul pun. In fact aku pernah cakap dengan kawan aku I mean like apa yang jadi dekat Kelantan kan. He says to me it's not true. Dia tak percaya tu. It's not true that deforestation causes their flood. Aku you know like
tak tahu buat apa.
aku macam tercengang, lepas tu aku macam okay. Aku tak suka dia argument dengan jawapan yang kau dah tahu. Aku macam okay lah, aku tak payah gaduh dengan.
Okay lah, you happy boleh lah.
Ambil lah, esok flood lagi.
But sorry, I just wanted to chip in the last question. I think it's very interesting as well because Haziq was asking, Hasanul, do you write your dreams in Malay or English? I mean, because I mean,
my
in Malay,
wife dream in English. Aku dream bahasa. Well, aku dream in English. Nulis in English. Aku rasa sebab exposure. Sebab isteri aku kena Roald Dahl for example in very young age kan. Aku tak ada that pros. Aku membesar dengan my mom punya magical stories. So different horror story or ghost stories or kampung stories. So different kind of environment. She lives in KL, I live in kampung. So different.
Yeah. I do have one more small question to follow up because in speaking of Wawasan 2020 is a very Malaysian thing. So the manifesto was written quite, it's well sculpted with Malay words, right? It's a wording. But I wonder, how do you see when you do your works, for example, that let's say your dream is written in Malay, and then when you wanted to share your works in general public, let's say a gallery, they need to translate into English, right? So how do you see this kind of do you see the translation it's going okay, or do you think it's I would like to insist to keep it in the Malay transcription or the original text from your dream? Or
aku rasa problem dengan translation, aku ambil satu perkataan lah. In Malay we call it penunggu tau. Kan? So penunggu means things that unknown, which is ghost lah. Waiting for you. Ayat dia penunggu tu dia things yang tunggu engkau dekat some places. So I've heard that ada lah orang pernah translate dan kawan aku ni make a joke of it again and again lah. Waiting doesn't work, man. I mean like waiting and penunggu tak sama.
Waiter pun tak jadi ya.
Waiting. Tapi kita ada ITB now, Institut Terjemahan Negara. Institut Terjemahan. So ITBN, Institut Terjemahan Bahasa Negara. Kalau you need translator, you just send there. Sebab aku pernah send. Aku pernah send surat nikah aku, surat kahwin sebab aku nak buktikan aku kahwin sebab pergi UK. Aku kena dapatkan chop dia orang. So dia orang translate balik. Tapi kalau for example tadi penunggu tu, kalau sepatutnya dia reinterpret, dia bukannya direct translation. Interpreter yang susah. Kau kena cari orang yang betul-betul kalau tidak perkataan dia jadi tak tepat dan merumitkan lah. Dia jadi lain kan. Ada few lah books yang aku baca. In fact, dulu-dulu aku baca Kafka in bahasa Indonesia. Sebab Indonesia translation dia very progressive. So they don't need bahasa Inggeris. Even in fact, Harry Potter tu dia orang we translate like a couple of months after J.K. Rowling publish kan. Dia orang translate ke Indo. That's how their progression lah. Sangat progress.
I think
In fact, aku kena mahirkan bahasa Indonesia. Aku pernah at one time baca buku, aku mahirkan diri aku ke bahasa Indonesia. Yang standard lah, Indonesia standard for novels lah. Sebab aku nak baca translation dia orang. Sebab dekat DBP or Malaysia tak ada. Aku tak pernah jumpa Kafka apa dalam bahasa Melayu. Tak tahu lah sekarang kalau ada, atau mungkin aku tak jumpa dengan senang kot.
And I think the powerful part that you mentioned,
Sama
Kafka.
macam Japan kan.
Yeah.
Japan also translation sangat bagus. Cepat lah.
I think they
don't rely on bahasa Inggeris.
I think it's they add on to the existing vocabulary. So instead of following,
Indonesia, Malaysia sekarang ikut Indonesia. For example, contact lah kan, contact. So in Indo, KONTAK. But now Malaysia baru guna for contact rapat, close contact. Close contact means siapa yang close contact dia kena swab test kan. So Malaysia baru guna lah. Malaysia baru gunakan banyak ayat sama macam Indonesia. Itu pun lagi satu lambat lah.
I'm not sure, are we slow or are we a penunggu? We are waiting for the right people.
Dia tunggu tapi dia tak buat apa-apa lah. Dia tunggu. Tapi aku ingat dah moving forward sikit lah. Since ITBN punya director baru tu, aku tengok agak prolific in terms of translation. Ada banyak buku-buku yang bagus yang keluar dalam bahasa Melayu.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, Hasanul. It's really happy to talk to you, and I would say it's a very different perspective, I would say, and I learned from you. I hope the listeners can feel the same. Thank you so much, Hasanul. And I hope really we can catch up again, because compared to your previous works, this time, even though it's 3 small artworks in Constructing World's website, but it tells different kind of layer of you in a way that, because compared to the previous works, they are rather colorful. They are with trigger senses.
Aku pernah masuk short film sebelum ni using animation. So animation tu memang aku punya language lah. Sebab dia close dengan, reason why maybe because dia close dengan drawing. So drawing tu jadi aku punya first
frontier.
Aku punya major practice at the moment lah. So aku try to shape drawing into many things right now, using wind, using all kind of material, as long as it's drawing.
Okay, thank you so much, Hasanul. I hope that we can catch up again. I'm really happy to see you, and all the best, and I will catch up with you, and have a good day. Cheers.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Gary. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye.